From Nasarawa State, the Nigerian Bar Association has condemned the treatment of an IBOM air passenger, Comfort Emerson, who's accused of assaulting two persons, including a staff of the airline. A statement jointly signed by the president of NBA, Alpha Musigwe, and the National General Secretary, Mobolaji Ojibara, described the incident as reckless and a violation of the passenger's right to dignity of human person. The body also condemned the subsequent lifetime flight ban imposed on her by IBOM Air and the airline operators of Nigeria. The NBA says the sanctions are heavy-handed, unlawful, and an affront to the rule of law and human dignity. The NBA is now calling for an independent and impartial investigation by the Ministry of Aviation, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, and security agencies before any disciplinary action is taken against her. The NBA is offering the passenger free services to ensure her rights are protected and that she obtains redress for the violations suffered.
She's destroying the aircraft.
After being handed over by IBOM Airline to the Airport Police Command, Comfort Bobby Manson was presented before Magistrate O.O. Salami of the Samuel Ilori Courthouse, Ogba, on Monday, where she was ordered to be remanded at Kirikiri. In count one, the defendant, while aboard the aircraft parked at the Muritala Mohammed Airport Terminal 2, Ikeja, allegedly behaved in an unruly and disorderly manner by shouting on top of her voice, abusing and assaulting the flight crew, and refusing to disembark from the aircraft after landing. She's also accused of assaulting one Juliana Edward by slapping and hitting her cheeks with the right hand. The defendant also allegedly willfully dragged and tore the crew member's wig valued at 110,000 naira. In count three, the 26-year-old is said to have hit one Jokpame Shagun on her face with her slippers. In count four, she's also accused of willfully damaging the airline's divider curtain, valued at $2,500. According to the police prosecuting the case, the 5 alleged offences are punishable under Section 4, Subsection 2 of the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria bylaw of 2005, as well as Sections 172 and 350 of the Criminal Law of Lagos State of Nigeria 2015. TVC News also gathers that the defendant had legal representation on the day of the hearing. She has now been ordered to be produced from Kirikiri back to the court on October 6. Kemi Foladeyemo, TVC News, Lagos.
Let's bring in President of the Nigeria Bar Association, Alpha Musigwe, for more on this development. Senior Advocate, thank you for joining us on the news this hour. It appears we are beginning to see some new evidence showing that there might be more to what happened or what transpired during that incident than what we've heard from the airline and the airline operators of Nigeria. But let's begin with the penalty, a life ban. What do you make of that, the fact that investigation has not even been concluded?
Well, it's in imposing what I would call a purported life ban on the lady. Both IBOM Air and airline operators of Nigeria acted hastily and in violation of our rights. They became both the accuser and the judge and witnesses in their own cause. Without affording her hearing, they rushed to judgment and imposed a so-called ban on her. It portrays us as a people who have no respect for fair hearing, for allowing the other side to present their own story and getting a total picture of what happened. And this poses grave danger to airline travelers who can, on a mere allegation of misconduct within an airline being leveled against them, be banned by either the airline or the airline operators of Nigeria. That's like jungle justice. I'm not sure that's the kind of image we want to portray. There should have been a hearing. And if after all evidence is in, the grounds exist for banning the person, then the law should take its course. But when, in the heat of passion, without hearing the lady, with the lady hastily charged to court and remanded, and then the charge adjourned to October 5th, and this is just August, and then placed on a lifetime ban, it appears like an attempt to show her that she is a poor person, she is a small person, and she can't do anything. And that's not the kind of portrayal we want to put out there.
And it's even more interesting because a similar incident that happened barely a week ago, the agencies were talking about banning the affected person pending investigation, but none of that,
absolutely.
was happened in this case.
That's the individual who, in every sense, would have appeared to endanger the safety of the aircraft and maybe the life of the passengers, much more than the incident we're talking about.
I wanted
maybe
to.
That's a case of different standards of justice for the big man and the small person.
Absolutely. I wanted to speak to the viral video of how she was dragged out of the aircraft and how she was stripped naked, and then the eventual leaking of that particular video to the public.
That video offends the sensibility of any very right-thinking person and ought not to have been allowed into public space. Whatever the lady did, the way she was dragged out was beastly. It does not portray decency, does not portray how people in the hospitality industry should portray their passenger, no matter how badly the person had behaved. That lady could have cracked her skull, could have broken her back when she was being dragged. She could have been killed. Even alleged armed robbers and murderers deserve better decency in their treatment. It shows how we treat persons that we alleged have committed an offense. And then the worst part is that officials or staff of the airline recorded that and felt able and decent enough and convinced enough that this is a worthy picture exposing her nudity that should be in the public domain. If there was need to put that in video, to tell their own side of the story, the least they could have done was to redact that part of it showing her nudity. It offends public morality and ought not to have happened. It was very unfortunate. No matter how guilty she may be perceived to be, she shouldn't have been subjected to such dehumanizing treatment. It violates her right to dignity of human person. And an airline should not subject any of their passengers to such treatment. It speaks ill of how passengers should be treated, no matter how badly they are alleged to have behaved. Indeed.
We have to go now, but the NBA is now offering our free legal services. What's the update with that? Can you tell whether she's been released on bail?
If she does not have legal representation, our lawyers are on standby to represent her, and we are gathering out information about the trial, and the NBA will be represented there, even if she has a counsel, to hold a watching brief, because this is a matter of public concern, and it speaks volume about how airline travelers are treated and how they should be treated, and how our judicial system should work in situations like this. This is not the face we want to present to the world.
Alpha Mosigwe, Senior Advocate of Nigeria's President of the Nigeria Bar Association. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you so very much for having me.